who died, who's dead. And yeah, that's when people are enjoying themselves. A lot of the photographs you see, you get some like you were saying on investigations where you can get this great evidence. A lot of them are people enjoying themselves. You know, you look at Phantom Photos, which is the show on the channel where they're looking at specific photos that have been taken and analysed and what have you. They're weird. I mean, some of them you can go double exposure, and I can see how that happened, or somebody's just moved. They were there. They look see-through because they've moved, and the shutter speed was slow. But there are some that you look at and you go, I mean, there's the army troop as well, where there's a guy's face here. Yeah, behind them. And he died a couple of weeks prior to that photograph being taken.
Was that the big photo of the army corps? Yeah.
But what can I do? It's not digital. It's and it would have been probably on a slower shutter speed. But he wasn't alive, so you can't. He couldn't have popped his head up and moved away.
The only way that you could kind of come to a conclusion about it or rationalise it is the fact that they got the date of the photo wrong when it was taken. But
his head was opaque.
It's not like any of the other ones, is it?
No.
But you're right. I mean, that is a point. That if you go down that road, then he could have been up there and moved, and he got the date wrong. Who knows?
Yeah. But again, and I've mentioned it before. A lot of people, as soon as you say I've seen a ghost, they automatically think of the kind of wishy-washy, transparent, white bedsheet over somebody's head kind of image, and
is
that's
that
not
the
the
Ku Klux
case.
Klan?
No, am I getting mixed up?
I don't know.
Yeah. And that's not the case. A high proportion of ghosts, if you've managed to see a ghost sighting, are those people that actually saw it didn't actually realise it was a ghost in the first place because it looks so real, like you or me or even Carl, if you want. And it's only due to the fact that when they analyse what they've looked at, they say, it looked solid, but it was perhaps a bit duller in colour, wasn't as bright, or they've actually witnessed. Yeah,
they've seen you.
Well, I set myself up again, and when they do something like walk through a wall, that's when they think, that is not what I should be looking at. This is not what I thought it was.
There's many stories of maybe like you've gone into a room and you've stepped aside for somebody and turned on. There's been nobody in the room. And I've heard many stories like that. Which we definitely stepped aside for someone.
Yeah. It's when you just reminded me of something that happened. We were doing one investigation. There was myself, Kieran, and Chris Conway in a room, and I was standing here, and Kieran was about sort of 5 foot in front of me, and I moved out of the way because Chris was standing here, and I went, "Oh, sorry, Chris," and he said, "What are you talking about?" And he was over there, nowhere near me at all, and that really freaked me out because he'd been standing there for a while. It's almost that point that you're kind of annoyed with yourself because you thought, if I'd seen him over there, because why would I look over there? Because I thought he was here. But if I turned, I would have seen something. And because it was there, I was aware of it for probably a good 10, 15 seconds, which, let's face it, is a hell of a long time to... But it's only when I thought, I've almost walked in, because I had the camera, I thought, I've almost walked in, sorry, mate, sorry, Chris. He went, what are you sorry for? But that's there, something was definitely there. I don't know what it was.
He was there.
Yeah, something definitely was there. Yeah. But when I get you to all these sightings and stuff, why can't they last for longer than a couple of seconds? Or why is it? That why can't he come back when I've got my camera and go, right? Let me shoot this. Let me get this on camera. Why?
I should imagine if it is anything to do with the mental state that you're in, because you obviously concentrate on something else at the time. If it's something to do with the mental state that you're in, then achieving that mental state might be, if you're trying to achieve it on a purposeful effort to achieve it, might be difficult to do, which is why you can only see them for a few seconds.
Actually, I mean, my brain probably had shut off for a bit because Kieran was talking. And it does, it does, because I don't understand what he says. He's too intelligent. I sit there and go, I actually helped Kieran once. He was writing a thesis on something or other, as you do. And he left. It's absolutely nothing to do. It's nothing to do with paranormal. It's just funny. We were doing it on the lives, and he stupidly had his computer out, and he was giving all of that, and he said, "Oh, this has got to be finished by whatever." And I'm all right. And he left the room with me in there, and his thesis. He left me, his computer on, and his thesis. So I helped him with it. I added, what I did was I added a couple of words in every now and then, just to help out. Not all the words that you could speak on daytime telly, I have to admit. And then I just did a whole paragraph on my life. And I copied it and pasted it and copied it and pasted it and copied it and pasted it. I did that for so long. When he came back, it was still copying and pasting. I mean, he shut the computer down in the end. It was just so much. And the look of desperation on the poor man's face, because basically I just ruined his whole thesis. It was fine, he had it backed up. I didn't know that at the time. Sorry, Kieran. But no, again, this is the problem when you've got people like Kieran, and you as well, because you're both paranormal investigators, and I know we all are, and you've got this sort of, this belief system where you're guarded to a degree, because a lot less things happen to you, because, and I believe that you almost guard yourself a little bit because of your disbelief is almost an armour.
Yeah.
And it's not that you don't, I'm not saying you're not a cynic, but you're a skeptic in the true sense of the words. You want proof, and that's, you know, that's where kind of we all are to different degrees. But I think you can guard yourself with this sort of thing. And when somebody else says, "Did you hear that?" quite often you'll go, "Nope."
Or I heard that, but it was this.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. No, it can't be that.
Yeah.
Well, it can be that. And it's almost like you can rationalise it so quickly that you go, well, it might have been a ghost, but it probably more than likely was this.
But that comes with through a lot of experience as well, doesn't it? If you've been doing this situation, been in the situation for a long time, like we've been doing it, you get used to what is a noise and what might not be a particular noise. So I know people probably go, well, you just don't want to listen. You don't want to, you don't want to believe that it was a ghost that made that. It's not the point at all. It's the point that I've had so much experience of listening to things in the dark and seeing things in the dark that, quite offhand, I can say, no, it was a door.
It's funny. I know a lot of people that sort of in this strange industry that we're in, that they tend to think that psychics have the hardest time. And I think they have the easiest time personally, because it's easy to make anything up, isn't it? Let's face it. If you want to be a fake psychic, but I think people who have the hardest time are the skeptics, because you actually have to have not just the answer to what it possibly might be. You have to have the answer to what you really think it is as well. And you can be quite easily attacked. But I remember there being 3 options when we were talking about psychics, especially when we talk about one of these sort of comedians who fall down and grab their throat and get possessed at the drop of a hat. And there's a part that, and I remember Kieran saying one way, he said that either they are a great actor and they're making it up, 2, they are schizophrenic and need help, or 3, they are absolutely psychic, and that has happened. That is actually only the 3 options it can be. And after the break, we'll actually find out, see which options they are. See you in a couple of minutes.